Hey fiber friends, welcome to the Botanical Knitter Vlogcast.
But I lie awake, wondering why.
I'm Emily, I live in Minneapolis, Minnesota, and this is my space where I talk about all things making and the joy of wool. You can find me on Instagram as The Botanical Knitter and on Ravelry as Botanical Knitter. Hi, good to see ya. It is the end of September. I filmed this whole episode already 2 weeks ago, and I filmed it outside, and there was a pesky little cicada that was a very high-pitched cicada. And I took to Instagram to ask the people, would this drive you nuts if you were watching the podcast? And a majority of people said no. But then when I was editing it, it was driving me nuts and it was all I could focus on. So here we are. This is a part 2. We're going to refilm this whole show, but that's okay. A couple things have changed since then. So really it's fresh content. A lot can happen in 2 weeks. It's fall. It is starting to get a little cooler out. The bugs are starting to go away. My garden looks beautiful. The vegetables, like green beans coming out of our ears, lots of tomatoes. Peppers are finally showing up. And our zucchini continues to do nothing. However, the delicata squash is looking good. And most exciting is my indigo is ready to go. So when I am back from my next trip to California and DC, so the second week of October, I'm going to try my hand at making an indigo vat. I've never done that before. So if you have any recommendations, you have a favorite YouTube video that's like your go-to, tell me, drop it in, and maybe I'll film the process. We'll see. Today I am wearing my ruby vest. This is a pattern from Sydney Graham. There's a great tutorial here on YouTube for it, and I'm wearing it because it is Oktobervest season. If you follow me on Instagram or you saw my community post here on YouTube, you know that I am hosting an Oktobervest make-along for all crafts. Knitting, crochet, sewing. Nobody has taken me up on the weaving thing yet, but it's a really fun opportunity for us all to make a vest, or what we think of as a vest. I'm not a rules person, I'm a joy person, so make whatever makes you happy. Slipovers, if it's a tank top that you're gonna modify into a vest, great. Just make the thing. It started September 1st and it is running through October 31st. There is a Discord chat that you can participate in. It's where we're chatting about patterns, inspiration. There's been a couple of people who have posted asking for help. I love it all. So I will drop a link to that in the description below. Join us. It is fun. There's definitely still time to join, especially if you're sewing. You can whip out something very quick. So the ruby vest I'm wearing today is fabric that I purchased from Fluid Drape. It is pre-quilted fabric, so this was an extra quick sewing project because I didn't have to quilt the fabric myself. So I cut it out. I didn't bother making it reversible. This pattern can be reversible. I didn't bother because I knew I just wanted to wear this green side. And then I ended up adding this really pretty purple maroon binding, which I think looks really fun with this chartreusey pear green. And lots of styling options for this one. I did the view that is a V-neck and it is a full length. So let me stand up and show you. Also, I'm not sure if this outfit is a fashion do or don't. I'm mixing patterns, but I kind of like it. So be nice if it's not a don't. So here you can see here, it's my waist is right here. So I did the full to the hip length. I'm wearing it with a skirt and a cropped t-shirt. I think it's fun. Honestly, I am winging it a little bit, but you know what? Wear what makes you happy. Life's too short. So yeah, please participate in the Oktobervest make-along. We have some really great prizes. The Knitted Butterfly is donating gift certificates to her website. She makes knitting notions, crochet notions. She does really cool monthly boxes with the mini skein and a complete stitch marker set, and it matches the theme. And usually I think there's one other goodie in there. So Jess is gonna donate. Thank you, Jess. Let's see, Teresa from Get Bentz is donating yarn. Susie of Fiber MacGyver is donating yarn. The gals at Sister Weekend Co. are donating yarn, which is amazing. They're doing this beautiful kit. So here's a photo of that. That's really exciting. Birdie Parker is going to donate a gift from her shop. Birdie Parker is Christy, and she makes beautiful jewelry and beautiful making notions if you're a knitter or crocheter. So I'm excited for that. I know I'm definitely missing other people. My apologies if I'm just like kind of off the cuff forgetting you. I'm grateful for your donated prize. We got a book donated, and it's all about women and in the fiber arts and textiles, and kind of this notion of like, it's not women's work because it's all about empowering, and it's how people have found liberation, have found independence, and like it's a form of resistance. And so that is With Her Own Hands by Nicole Nehrig. I think it's Nehrig. Nicole Nehrig. So thanks, Nicole, for donating that. I think that's pretty exciting. And then I'm trying to get a couple of fabric stores to donate gift certificates, so our sewists that are joining the Makealong can get a prize that works for their craft as well. So more prizes to come. If you want to donate a prize, just DM me or email me at thebotanicalknitter@gmail.com. Thank you. The Discord has a full link of prizes, so if I've forgotten you, I will make sure that everybody knows how wonderful you are. I am getting very excited for Rhinebeck. I'm a fall and winter person, so my brain is there. Like, I haven't quite put away my summer clothes yet because I know that's just gonna jinx things, but I am very ready for cold weather, cozy weather. I still haven't done my fall decorations, which is strange because usually September 1 hits and I'm decorating for fall. I think it just shows like I've been traveling a ton and my headspace has been rough. Like, I'm having a very rough mental health time. I'm okay, but the world is really heavy and I struggle with anxiety, and my work is political. I do, like while I am I work on nonpartisan issues, politics is inherently political, and sometimes that can be really draining and heavy. So I've been trying to just slow down, make things, enjoy my time at home, and not feel obligated to do things that feel like a chore. So maybe when I get back from my next California trip, I will do some spooky season decorating because I do love Halloween. All right, that was a little real talk for you, a little real behind maybe why I've been extra quiet on Instagram or on YouTube. I know a lot of us are feeling that way, so I'm here for you. Feel free to message me. We're in this together. All right, let's chit chat about some of my finished objects. I'm going to start with sewing because it's right here. You should see my setup and how chaotic it is. So the first finished object is the Hovea coat. The Hovea coat by Megan Nielsen Designs, I believe. I went with View D, I believe. Either View B or View D. The show notes will have everything you need to know, but this version is the long full coat length. It comes with a cropped version, a shawl collar version, a full length version. So I went with the version that just has some simple binding on the front. There is an optional tie. I didn't add the tie. And then the full length, and it does have these really cool deep pockets on either side of the front. I made this coat using a vintage quilt that I found at an antique store for a really great price, and it has seen better days. So I wanted to give it another life by turning it into a jacket. So you can see there's definitely some spots like here. I mean, there's plenty of spots that need some mending, which will be a new skill for me to learn. I saved all of my scraps from cutting out the pieces, so I could go in and cut out the old squares from different the pieces and then patch over it. I think that's a skill I can do. I think I'm going to hand sew all of them. Somebody shared that it would be really easy just to kind of like use a spray adhesive, stick it down, put a little extra batting on it, and then just do like a tight zigzag, like an applique style. But maybe I'll try both. I mean, this is like definitely a learning lesson for me. I tried to use as much of the original binding of the quilt as possible. However, I did not have enough, so I just went with a plain white binding for the front, around the neck and down the front. I did keep the original hem or binding of the quilt. So 2 sides were straight, and then like the top and bottom of the quilt had this really beautiful kind of scalloped shaping. And I wanted to keep that. So this is where I struggle sometimes with pattern matching, is visualizing the right side, wrong side, and how I'm seeing it versus how it'll be on the body. And I really wanted the pieces to match up as closely as possible between the front piece and the back piece, because it's 3 pieces plus the sleeves. And it did. Like, I think that's a pretty nice join between the front and the back. So I was happy. Here's the join right here. So you can see with the pattern, like the bridal ring is broken up, or is it wedding ring? A wedding ring quilt pattern. But the shape is true. So I'm really happy with how this turned out. It is definitely big. I did a size, I think I sewed a size 12. Let me look. I'm trying to remember detail so I can be a better sharer of intel for you, because I know I find it helpful when I know what other people make. So I made a size 14, went with a view D. Thank you, Instagram Emily, for saving me. I have a 46-inch, 45 to 46-inch bust, and I did go down several sizes to have less ease. I know I don't like a ton of ease. If I was to make this again, I would go down 1 more size to a size 12, and then potentially would modify the armhole depth. You can see there's a lot of fabric there, but all in all, I'm really happy with it. I've worn it a bunch already, and it's still September. I plan to make this again, and I'm gonna do the more cropped version with ties using some fabric that I also purchased from Fluid Drape. It's brown with blue bows. It's very cute. I got it to make a matching quilted coat with my cousin Haley. She already made hers last winter, so I need to get my shit together, but it'll be fun to have a little matching piece with her. All right, more finished objects. I'm just gonna mix in knitting and sewing. The next finished object is the Karine hat by Knit and Gather, and this is a test knit. It's coming out later in October, and it is such a fun hat. It is different than anything I have ever made or have kept for myself. It has a very cool construction where you start knitting one direction, you do a short row to flip it, and then you kind of knit it the opposite inside out. And it has a nice 3-fold brim, so it's actually, yeah, 1, 2, 3. So the 2 layers, and then as you can see, it's color work. So the pattern is written for DK weight Suri silk, and then a DK weight main color. I use 2 strands of Suri, 2 different colors, for a kind of a marled look, though it's hard to see. So it was a bright coral creamsicle color from Fiber MacGyver, mixed with a very soft pale pink called Ballet slipper from Filato Studios, and then the green is Heirloom DK from ZeeZee Textiles in the color Palmetto. It's the same yarn that I used for my biscuit slipover, that beautiful brioche slipover. I knit this probably in a week while knitting other things. And so it's a fun, engaging project, very much like a next row, because the color work is so fun, very manageable color work, only 2 colors. And the cool thing about this is I love how the design lines up with the brim. I think that's just a really thoughtful detail. It is a very puffy, thick hat. Mine is a little smaller, and I will tell you why it's a little smaller than when I first made it in just a second. But I think this is going to be really great for winter walks because it's layered, because of the yarn used. It is going to be so warm and so perfect for those like January, February night dog walks, or like below 0 weather. And it's like so cute. I feel like it's just different than anything I've seen. So this will come out in October. Keep an eye out on my Instagram. The pattern is already posted on Ravelry. It's just not available yet for downloads. I'm sure you can like favorite it, and then you'll be notified once it goes live. I think that's how Ravelry works. Ravelry never works as we want it to, so, you know. All right, so let me tell you about the journey this hat has taken. So when I was filming this podcast 2 weeks ago, I was filming outside and I had just finished it and was blocking it. So I had this outside on the blocking mats and I noticed there were a lot of flies on it, but I didn't think anything of it because bugs exist outside. And when it's warm out, I block my stuff outside all of the time and have never had anything bad happen. Well, as I was filming this, I look down and I start to see these white things in it that were not there before. And, you know, with all of the chatter about like pests, and I've just been really paranoid about pests and bugs. And you can see, maybe I'll drop in footage, you can watch my face go, what the hell is that? So the flies laid their eggs in my hat while it was outside for the whole hour it was outside. And I'm assuming because it was some really stinky, yummy wool smell and they wanted to put their eggs in it. So what I ended up doing was immediately throwing it in a bag and putting it in the freezer. It was still damp, so it froze very strangely, but it was in the freezer for a week, a little over a week. Then I took it out of the freezer and immediately put it in a cold vinegar bath to let it thaw out. And then once it was room temperature, I put it in a slightly warmer vinegar bath. And then I put it in the dryer for about 10 minutes so it could get up to a high heat. Between the freezing, the vinegar, and the heat, I think it killed everything. This has been out now for a week. And there's no, oh, and then I went in and picked, there was just a couple spots. Thankfully, it wasn't the whole hat. I picked out the eggs with tweezers. So they're gone. It did not hatch. They're out of the picture. But I was really grossed out. Have you ever had that happen? Like blocked outside and then something laid eggs? It's changed my life. I don't think I'll ever block anything outside ever again. Like terrifying. But all's well that ends well. She smells like vinegar, but you know what? Better vinegar than flies. All right, finished object. My next finished object is the Classic by Espace Tricot. This one I have talked about on the podcast before. I donated a custom sweater to my work's silent auction and it went for $500, which is wild. So I have finished it and it really is a custom sweater. I sent the individual a picture of the lento, the flax, the Classic, and one other worsted weight pattern being like, here's some options. Do you like any of these? And she had responded with, I like the shape, the silhouette of the Classic. I like the sleeves of the flax, so that purl textured band that goes down the sleeve. And I liked the color of the lento, and that's that beautiful deep green cover photo of the lento. So I made it happen. I used yarn that was gifted to me by Knit Picks in Gloss DK, and it is a beautiful silk merino blend. Thank you, Knit Picks, for gifting this. Otherwise I would have purchased the yarn and, you know, donated that in addition to my time. This Knit Picks yarn came at the start of the year. There's no, I know there's been some chatter about bugs. There's no bugs in this. I have no bugs in my stash. Everything is just fine. So this worked out okay. And the color is so beautiful. It's coming out a little bit more blue on camera, but it is this deep, beautiful pine green that I adore. So did the Classic shaping and then modified it by adding purl stitches all the way down the sleeves, and I kept the sleeve wide like the Classic. And my only other modification was adding a couple extra inches to the length and to the front and back hem. Lesson learned for me while knitting this one is I knew going into it that I wanted to modify the pattern, but because I started this on a plane while going to Atlanta for work, I wasn't thinking and did not set up the purls at the very top of the shoulders. So I split first sleeves and then realized I needed to drop a bunch of stitches to do the purl texture. So what I did, I did it two different ways, learn from me. The first one that I did, I marked where the raglan started, so it was 13 stitches total. I found the center, blocked out 13 stitches, and then dropped them all. And it was probably, so I split for sleeves here. It was this much, which like doesn't seem like a lot, but then when you have to pick up 13 stitches, that many rows, it's a lot. So the first one I did, I just dropped them all at once and had just a ton of spaghetti between the two edges where I kept the pillar, like the pillar stitches. And so then I did it one at a time. The tension was really difficult to maintain. I was gonna do 13, one across, a row, 13, 13, 13, and then that wasn't really working well either. So what I ended up doing was using a crochet hook and doing one column of knit stitches at a time. I did the back side so I could just do knits instead of the front and purl, if that makes sense. So tension was hard because I had 13 stitches worth of loose yarn that I had dropped. Learned my lesson, and on the second sleeve marked out my 13 and did one column at a time. So instead of taking it all out and then picking up, I did one at a time, and that helped keep the tension more stable. It blocked out fine. I think you can see some spots where the tension's a little bit cleaner. So if you are like me and you want to modify a pattern, do it from the beginning, or don't drop all your stitches at once, do one at a time. Some of you might be like, duh, Emily. Well, you know what? I'm a newish knitter relatively, right? I started officially like hardcore in 2020, even though I learned in 2009. So, we learn as we try new things. So this is gonna go out in the mail, and I'm excited that it's done. My next finished object is a sewing finished object, and it is a new skill that I unlocked. I now can sew with knit fabric, and I'm very excited. So I took a class from Open Sewing Studio, which is a new fabric store in St. Louis Park, Minnesota, and I took the Honeygirl Tee class, and here it is. It is a very 90s style t-shirt because I did a lettuce hem on the bottom. As with anything, in my head, I always think something's going to be harder than it is. I have a serger, so sewing knits is very easy. I serged nearly all of my edges, and then I did the zigzag hem, the zigzag stitch, a wide zigzag stitch at my neck and on my arms. I use this really beautiful Pointelle, Pointelle fabric, and it has the beautiful yarn overs in it, and it just fits really nice. I enjoyed it. It was way easier. You don't have to worry about frayed edges. In some ways, it's easier than sewing with woven fabrics. I knit a size I sewed pattern size I, letter I, kept the long length, did the crew neck, short sleeve, and then did the lettuce hem. I'm going to make two more, hopefully before I leave for California, one for my mom and one for my brother's girlfriend, so they each have their own, because it's such a quick sewing project, and I'm eager to keep that kind of all the skills I learned around sewing with knits front and center. So this was a fun one, would recommend if you haven't already, and of course, look at that cute little label. And finally, this is one you've seen before. This is my Tour de Fleece finished object. It is so pretty. It is the Traveler Shawl by Andrea Mowry, which is designed really for handspun in mind. And I used two different yarns of my handspun for this project. The first is, they're both combination spins. Both yarns use the same, there's one consistent ply between them. So I used a gray CVM from Plaid Perch Farms, and it was just a very beautiful, soft, natural wool. I had purchased 8 ounces of it at Shepherd's Harvest back in 2024, I think. And so finally it was like, girl, you gotta spin your stash down. So spun that up and then pulled this 4-ounce roving from Nest Fiber Studio. It was maybe the May color of the month on, I believe it was Falkland, and it was maybe the colorway was Block Party. And so it's pinks, oranges, reds, it's kind of some soft, almost purpley blue, and the gray makes it a little bit more blue toned, which I really like. So I did 1 ply of the gray CVM with 1 ply of the Nest Fiber for the first part of the shawl. And then the second part is the gray CVM paired with more of a tonal, one-of-a-kind fiber Rambouillet, 4 ounces of roving from Little Fiber Co. And I decided on this color to pull out the reds because this red orange coral was my favorite part, and I'm really happy with how it turned out. I modified it by, I didn't do as many increases. I stopped at, I can't remember how many stitches. It's very easy to modify and figure out. So I didn't do all the increases because I was running out of this yarn. And then I did the larger view for the second part, and didn't even, I have so much of this yarn left over. So I might make a hat out of it. So definitely use the full of this first combo, not even close to half, I think, of this one. And it is really pretty and really squishy. Yeah, look how cute it looks with the striped shirt. So I'm ready for fall weather, so I can wear this. I just haven't had a chance yet because it's been disgustingly warm. All right, I have 2 whips that I'm going to share with you today. One is almost done. It's on the blocking mats, and then the other is still on the needles. So I'll start with the needles, and then we're going to go on a road trip so I can show you my other almost finished object. So my first whip is the Fieldstone Vest by Samantha Guerin, and this is my knit garment for the Oktobervest Makealong. I am knitting a size 6, and I went down 1 needle size, so I'm using US 7s, which is pretty standard for any Sam Guerin pattern. I always go down a needle size, and it is using worsted weight yarn. It's merino alpaca worsted weight from Fiber MacGyver in the colorway Celestial, and I love kind of that real soft halo from the alpaca. As you can see, it's a really beautiful, pretty simple pattern, but it has this kind of center double decrease that goes down either side, right along the bust line. I just split, I've been like really, this goes so quick. I forget after only working on like fingering and sport and DK, like on US 7 worsted weight, it goes so fast. So really, this has just been a couple days consolidated of work. I love the yarn and how the colors flow in it. It is a tonal, but it has some light bits, some darker bits. I think it's beautiful. This is coming out more blue. I would say this has a little bit more of a teal green blue to this in person through my natural eye. I am hoping to have this finished for Rhinebeck, and so if you're going to Rhinebeck, come say hi. Let's do an Oktobervest make-along photo, and this will be one of my finished objects. My goal is to finish this in California next week. I have a whole week in California on vacation with the family, and so I think between the 4-hour flights there and back, and a lot of car time and downtime, I will get this done and hopefully make good progress on my other vest, which I really haven't started yet, but I need to if I want to also have it finished for Rhinebeck, so wish me luck. We love a self-imposed deadline. Basically finished object, still a whip, is the Maple Meadow cardigan by Famke of Mippie the Label. She is a designer out of Amsterdam. It's my first time knitting a pattern for her, and it is so beautiful. If you follow me on Instagram, you've seen me talk about it. I think in my flock recap, I talk about some of the Suri I got from ZeeZee for it, but you have not seen it because I have been hauling ass to finish this as quick as possible. I'm in my sewing room, and as you can see, it is a little chaos. It is full of fabric and fiber, so no judging me, okay? It's a little chaos. So I'm gonna flip the camera around so you can see the cardigan. All right, so she is on the blocking mats, and I am just really obsessed with this. It has beautiful eyelets, some yarn overs, lace work, and then it has a little cable and then some seed stitch. Mine, so I just blocked it. Before blocking it, it hit just below my natural waist, and you can see there's some eyelets here. And that's because I decided to pick the pattern that has an I-cord cinched waist for that very vintage look. The sleeves, I have grown a bit, so I think they'll hit right at my wrist bone. And as you can see, it's just blocking, but the pattern goes all the way around. Was that fun, a little field trip together? So it's drying. I'm hopeful that maybe while I'm editing this, I'll have some time to drop in some footage of me wearing it so you can see it. But I really love the eyelet detail the most in that I-cord waistline. That's what first drew me to this pattern when I saw it posted for a testing call. And I kind of knew, I was like, I need to make this my Rhinebeck cardigan. So it is using farm fresh yarn from Get Bentz yarn. So it's a mix of Corriedale, merino, and angora. So it is so soft, it is so squishy, and I love the detail of each stitch because I held it with Suri, so it's soft. Somebody commented saying how ethereal it was, which I really thought that was a great compliment. To me, it feels like a classic cardigan that I will always wear and always grab. It will be warm, so it's definitely a warmer or a cooler weather garment, but I'm excited. I have one knit cardigan in my wardrobe. So right now, all I think about is cardigans and vests, which is why I'm hosting a vest make-along. I'm knitting a cardigan. I'm probably going to start another cardigan because that's kind of where the gap is in my wardrobe. So yeah, my biggest kind of decision now is what buttons to use. I have 3 different buttons in mind, so stay tuned for which one that I pick. You'll see it. Well, hey there. Some of you might be wondering, Emily, why is your hair on top of your head? Why are you wearing a completely different outfit? And it's because this is my 3rd time trying to film this vlog episode. So yesterday I sat down, filmed all of the things, went to edit it and upload it last night, and realized that after our fun little field trip downstairs to my sewing room to look at my Maple Meadow cardigan, I had somehow switched it to slow-mo, which means it did not record any audio, and you can just see me very slowly mouthing what I'm saying. That's so fun. So this podcast episode is one of resilience, persistence, and a lot of redos. So we've reached the point of the vlog where I'm going to talk to you about my fall making plans. I am pretty sure I won't have time to film a full episode, so I thought I would drop it in here. It's not really a list of here's all of the things I'm going to make, but rather here are the knitting and sewing patterns that have kind of caught my eye or that I really do like want to prioritize over the next couple of months as we transition into winter. So the first is the second vest that I want to knit for the Oktobervest and ideally have completed for Rhinebeck, though we'll see. And that is the warp vest. This vest is knit flat, bottom up, and then seamed together, and it is marled in tarja. And my vision for this is an all green, beautiful vest. And look at these colors. So this is yarn that was dyed for me by Fiber MacGyver, and it's on Susie's new yak base. So the plan is to do the marled plaid pattern in these 3 colors, and then do the contrast cuffs. You can tell I started this already. Do the ribbing and the cuffs and neck in this dark green. And I mean, it's very me. It's so Emily. I have started the ribbing on the bottom of the first part of it, and I am unsure about the sizing, which is why I ended up jumping straight into doing the Fieldstone vest instead of this one, because I need to do a little bit more research, look at a couple more project pages, and figure out how much ease or not do I want in this project. So this is in my That Crafty Little Fox Halloween project bag because spooky season is almost here. I have 3 more knitting patterns that I want to share with you that are on my radar. The first is the Scrappy Yoke Sweater by Olga Putano, and this is a new pattern from Olga. As you can see, it is a classic sweater that plays around with color work and 4 colors. Olga's pattern, or Olga's sample, includes some Suri along with fingering weight. I would only need 4 different skeins of yarn, which is perfect. I just cleaned out some of my stash, and I have a lot of single skein yarns or colorways. And if you know me, or if you've kind of heard me talk about this recently, I've discovered that superwash socks are not my favorite socks. They make my feet itch. I don't know if it's the nylon, the superwash themselves. So I have all of these single skeins that I had picked up for socks, and I think it's time to repurpose those and find a cohesive matching of 4 colors to make this. I think a group of us are going to knit this as like a friendship sweater, but I think it is really, really beautiful. And I'm excited for the color opportunities. So that is on the horizon. Would love to knit the scrappy yoke sweater. The second pattern that I've really been infatuated with and for a while is a pattern from Isabel Kramer, and it's the Callias cardigan. I actually started this in January and then decided I would rather use the yarn for my Ingrid slipover. This cardigan has been on my radar for a very long time. The co-owner of Dandelion Yarn Co., Tiff, along with a couple of other friends that are at Dandelion quite a bit, have knit this cardigan, and I love the fit on them. They didn't make theirs as oversized, so I think I would definitely go for a little less ease, but I think the texture of it is so beautiful. So this is on my list. It is an Aran weight. I would swap it out for a worsted weight yarn, and I have several yarn sweater quantities in mind that this would be good for. I have a Brooklyn tweed, like this really reddish rusty orange from the Duo collection or the Tones collection that was super sale from the Yarnery when Brooklyn Tweed announced they were no longer going to be selling yarn. So I think that would be really nice. I also feel like it is like I'm trying to remember what the base is, but it is definitely, it's not all merino, which I think will look really nice with the texture and is a good match for this pattern. So the Callias cardigan, or however you say it, is on my radar, and probably one I will start sooner rather than later, just because I've been pretty infatuated with cardigans lately. And then the last knitting pattern I want to flag is one that wasn't on my radar, and it's the Lifelines Shawl by Erica Field. So Erica ended up gifting me this pattern and sent me a really sweet note about kind of how she connects with my podcast and with me, and how like the knitting community is a lifeline for her. And it sounds like she does some work in advocacy, and it just sounds like we're kindred spirits from afar. So first of all, Erica, thank you for sending me this. It was really, really kind of you. And I want to read you just a couple of pieces from the description of the pattern. So it says, the Lifelines shawl is a celebration of the power of knitting, craftivism, and the endurance of the human spirit. And then later on, it goes on to say, so the stitch pattern features horizontal stitch patterns that depict lifelines, both the literal type we see on medical machines and on the figurative ones that represent the ebb and flow of life events. And that just is kind of very beautiful. So it is a sport weight pattern. It looks like it calls for 4 different colors, 800 to 900 yards. I do think you can modify it to do a DK version, which I probably will do because of the single skein DKs that I have. But look how beautiful this pattern is. It does have some really lovely texture to it that is calling my name. It seems like it would be a good and fun pattern because every section is changing. So it keeps it kind of fresh. And for me, I know when knitting big shawls, I want it to be different and not the same knit, increase, knit, increase. And this one plays around with texture. So this one's also on my list because I think it's quite beautiful. And I know I have some single skeins in my stash. That would be great for it. I have 2 objects that I would like to sew between now and ideally the end of October. The first is a vest. It is the Quinn vest from True Bias, and it comes with 3 different views: a waist length vest, a hip length vest, and then a dress. So it's the vest kind of silhouette, but it's a dress. All 3 are very cute. This would be my sewing project for the Oktobervest Makealong. It will definitely happen after I get back from Rhinebeck, and would be a good weekend project. So I already have it printed out. I have this beautiful Essex linen in a cream color ready to go. But this is one I've been eyeing primarily because I really like this vest trend. I like the tailored look of it, and I think I could definitely wear it to work or make it a little bit more casual for everyday use. And the reason why I want to make my own is because I've had a really hard time finding one that's ready to wear at a store. They usually just don't fit my bust, and that is really frustrating. It's either too tight but fits nicely in over the stomach and waist, or to accommodate my bust, it fits, but then it's huge and doesn't look as tailored or put together. So that feels like the perfect opportunity to sew it myself, right? Because that's the whole point of making clothes, is we can make it fit our bodies. The other object that I want to sew that I have already cut out pieces for is a pair of Oxbow jeans. And these jeans have been on my radar since April or May. Casey of Young Folk Knits was like, Emily, let's, because she had seen me comment about like how my 2020, what year are we in? 2025 making goal was to sew a pair of jeans. And so she's like, you want to do it together? And I said, sure, but can I get through the end of session first? And she's like, yeah, absolutely. This is like a low key, no rush. I ended up taking a class from Lake's Makery, which is a fabric store in Minneapolis, all about how to sew a zipper fly. And from there, that gave me the confidence. I think the cat's gonna jump in my lap, so just be prepared for Ralph time. Come on, come on. Anywho, that gave me the confidence. And from there, I did cut out the pattern pieces, but that was in end of June or July. June, I think it was June. And so a lot of time has passed since then. So my goal is to get a pair of jeans sewn that I can have and wear and just honestly rip the band-aid off. Make my first pair. They don't have to be perfect. I know I'm gonna learn a lot and then gain the confidence to go into my next pair. Like I've said before, when it comes to learning new skills, I think I always say because I don't know how to do it, that it's hard, rather than it's just something to learn and get more comfortable with. So I'm trying to have that mindset of like, it doesn't have to be perfect. I told you the cat was gonna jump into my lap. But I'm hoping that by talking about it with you all, it holds me accountable and like gives me a little bit of bravery. Casey already finished her pair of jeans along with several others, so it's definitely my time to get going. So by talking about it with you today, I'm hoping it gives me a little bit of confidence to get it done. Here's Ralph. This is my cat Ralph. He's occasionally on the vlog. He's a good guy. He's my little guy. Hopefully this has edited and wrapped and is all good and you're seeing this in your feeds and I don't have to refilm it for a fourth time. As I mentioned, I'm going to California, and so I plan to do a travel vlog from my trip with my family to California. I'm planning on going to some knitting shops, some fabric stores, so I'll bring you with me. And then I don't think I'll do a regular episode between now and Rhinebeck. Who knows? Life may change. But if I don't talk to you before Rhinebeck, please come say hi to me if you plan to go. On Friday, I'll be at a woolen affair, and Saturday and Sunday, I'll be at New York Sheep and Wool. All 3 days, I'll be helping out Susie of Fiber MacGyver. So come say hi. I'm not sure if I will do like an official meetup on the hill, but you know how to find me. I'll be with Susie. So come say hi, come check out Susie's yarn. I'd love to see you, give you a hug if you feel comfortable, especially if you're participating in Oktobervest. Wear your vest one of the days so I can grab a picture and see your progress or see your finished object in person. I know I always say this, but come say hi. It can be a little awkward. I know I get uncomfortable sometimes when I see people and I feel like I'm bothering them, but for me personally, you are not bothering me. I do this because I want to meet more people and build this community up and help make connections and just find joy in this world. And so you coming and saying hi to me will do all of those things. So if you feel comfortable, say hi. Love giving hugs. Otherwise, keep following along. Follow me on Instagram. Engage in the comments. It's always good to talk to all of you. I appreciate all your thoughtful comments and thoughts and feedback. Yeah, I think that's that. It's hard to remember what I've talked about because I've filmed this twice now. With that, I'm gonna wrap it up. I hope wherever you are, you're doing well, and I'll see you next time. green beans, tomatoes, French radishes. We have French and breakfast radishes, green beans, our heirloom tomatoes, more green beans, peppers, the lone beet, jalapenos, and then some delicata squash, but there's a lot more on the vine.